Chapter 5, Meeting Time. By 6:30 p.m., the First Baptist Church was so crowded, people had to stand outside in the churchyard. Abby's third-grade teacher was there. So were the school custodian and her dentist. She waved at Mr. Ford and Mama's beautician, Miss Alfreda. She wished Patsy were there with her. It was exciting. A real protest meeting. The only people she didn't see were Uncle Big John and Aunt Mittie, John's parents. "Shouldn't we save them seats?" Abby asked. "Oh," said Mama. "I don't think they'll be here." Abby wanted to ask why, but the meeting was beginning. There were a few announcements, and then Reverend Kelly Miller Smith, the pastor of First Baptist, spoke first. "Good evening, everyone," he said in a powerful voice that filled the room. "Some of you folks are attending a meeting like this for the first time. We say, welcome. We're here tonight to talk about freedom. But freedom is a meaningless word when we Negroes don't have the same rights as white people." The Reverend looked around the church. "Are we free to live in any neighborhood we want?" "No." His voice grew louder now. "Are we free to work where we want?" "No." "Are our children free to attend better schools?" he asked. This time people shouted, "No!" along with Reverend Smith. "Are we even free to buy a cup of coffee and sit down to drink it where we please?" he asked, his voice rising with emotion. Now there was a thundering chorus. "No!" Reverend Smith shook his head. "No, we're not. America is supposed to be a democracy where we are all equal, but segregation says we're not. Democracy and segregation are like oil and water. The two don't mix." People clapped and shouted, "Amen!" Mama was as still as a stone, listening to every word. "If we don't stand up for ourselves, who will?" asked the pastor of another church. For about an hour, different speakers, many of them preachers from the neighborhood, talked about how segregation hurt everybody and needed to end, had to end. Mr. Ford stood up and spoke to the crowd. "I'm 64 years old. I know what's wrong with segregation. Tell me, what can we do to change it?" There were cheers, amens, and applause. John stood up next. "For the past few days, some college students over in Greensboro, North Carolina, have been staging a sit-in at the lunch counter of Woolworth's," he said. "And we're getting ready to have our own sit-ins right here in Nashville." Suddenly, Mama stood up too. Abby could tell Mama was nervous because she turned her ring around and around on her, and her pocketbook was clutched tightly under her arm while she spoke. "Henry and I wanted things to be better for Abby, our daughter." Abby was surprised. Mama hardly ever talked about Daddy. He'd been killed 3 years ago in a railroad accident. "I still hold on to the dreams we shared for her, but that's not easy to do here in the South." Mama paused. The room was silent. Mama began speaking again. Now her voice was steady. "Just today my child was turned away from a new restaurant at Harvey's, so I've made up my mind. If she can't have a sandwich there, I won't buy our clothing there. I will not spend a dime in a place that humiliates my child. Never again. No more." Mama sat down. She held Abby's hand. Mama was shaking. People leaped to their feet. "That's right, no more, no more," they chanted. Abby couldn't believe it. Mama was a protester. The meeting ended soon after. John rushed over to Mama. "Aunt Bee, you were something. I wish you'd talk to Ma, dear. My Mama doesn't think protesting will make a bit of difference. She says I'm wasting my time." "I thought that way myself, and you know your mother. She is hard to convince," said Mama. "But I'll give it a try." While Mama stepped away to chat with a church member, Abby stayed with John. She wanted to ask why Aunt Mittie didn't believe in protests, but John was talking with 2 girls his age. "We want to start sit-ins," he said, "but we have to train everybody. We'll teach you exactly what to do and what not to do. We can fit you in around your classes. Please sign up. We need your help." "What's a sit-in?" Abby asked. "We go in a group and sit at a lunch counter," John told her. "The waitress probably won't serve us because we're Negroes, but we won't just get up and leave. We'll sit at the counter all day until it closes. Then we'll go back the next day, and the next, until they serve us." "Sure, I'll do it. I'll sign up," said one of the girls. She was tall and pretty, with ruler straight teeth and bright brown eyes. "You have to be 18, said John. "We both are," she answered. "I'm Terry, and this is my roomie, Joan. We're at Tennessee State. Count us both in." "How will I reach you?" John asked. "You can reach me, I mean us," Terry said, smiling, "at Hale Hall. So like I said, count us in. For the sit-ins. Let us know what to do, you know?" John was still smiling as the girls walked away. "She sure is cute," said Abby. "I bet that's why you wanted her to sign up." John laughed. "Oh, Pete, being cute's got nothing to do with this. Sit-ins are serious business. People may get hurt. It's not as simple as it sounds." Abby blew air through her teeth. "Okay, Mr. Smart Guy. How many sit-ins have you been in?" she asked, knowing the answer. "None," John said, shrugging, but added quickly. "But I've been through the training. I know what nonviolent protesting means. I'm ready." John seemed different lately, more serious. "It's not fair. I want to do something too," Abby insisted. "Don't worry," said John. "You will."